Welcome to the All-Star Insights Youth Podcast, where players, parents, and coaches step up to the plate to learn what it really takes to succeed in the game of baseball. I'm Sherry, the CEO of Kids on First. Hosting the podcast are Chris McKnight and Rob Ashford. Each week, Chris and Rob break down the fundamentals, share insider tips with top coaches, former and current pros, to help you get ready on and off the field. Whether you're just starting out or chasing that next level, this is your dugout for knowledge, inspiration, and all things youth baseball. Now, let's play ball.
Welcome, everybody, to All-Star Insights, all things youth baseball. I'm your co-host, Chris McKnight, along with...
And I'm your co-host, Robert Ashford.
And today we have a really special guest with us, Tevin Tucker from Petersburg, and he's going to talk a little bit about his career in baseball, where he's at now, and how he made the transition from youth baseball all the way up through professional baseball. It's great to have you with us today, Tevin. Thank you.
Welcome.
So why don't you just give us a quick little background, starting with your youth baseball, because I think a lot of people are very interested in how you got started and, in the youth game, and who were your influences growing up?
So I would say kind of baseball has been in my family for a long time. Grandfather played, great-grandfather played. Growing up kind of in Petersburg, we lived there until I was about 5 years old, I want to say. And just kind of getting into the recreational league in Petersburg and playing there. Played there a couple of years while I was young. And then there's this league called the Virginia Commonwealth Baseball League. That's kind of played out in the country. My grandfather had a team, so when I was a little kid playing out there, I would leave my games from the rec games in Petersburg, go out there and just be out there and just seeing stuff like that. So just being out there, and then when I was 5, we moved to Prince George. So I just continued to play, rec ball there. And then my rec team that I played with at Prince George actually formed the AAU team. Have a baseball team. So we kind of formed together from rec to AAU, and then from that it just kind of took off from there. We just played together the rest of my time up until I graduated high school.
Wow! So you played with that high school team basically until you went off to college.
Yeah, we played together since we was the core of us played together since we was about 7 or 8 years old. We won the state championship my last year in high school.
So you guys were pretty good then. In the AAU team.
Yeah, we was pretty good. Had good chemistry, and it was just, like I said, I still talk to some of those guys. Just good people, good family-oriented people that kind of helped raise us. I still talk to some of the families that, was some of my teammates' parents and stuff like that. So just good people.
Cool. So if you don't mind, just tell us then from Prince George to WVU, how did that come about, and how was that transition for you? Because it's that's definitely a big jump. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. So Prince George, in a way, when I got to West Virginia, once I finally got there, it was kind of resembled Prince George a little bit. Prince George is kind of out of the way, I would say, kind of in the country. Everybody knows everybody, but it's still kind of big a little bit. But yeah, it's just like not a ton of people. And even at West Virginia, it's a university, there's a lot of people, but just kind of like being kind of out the way in the country still kind of resembled home a little bit. So I think that's what kind of gravitated me towards going to West Virginia. So just playing there at Prince George, and then going through that, playing with my high school coach and everything like that, and then getting a scholarship offer to go play at West Virginia was just a blessing to just be able to go through that. And then to kind of get there and be like, oh, this is kind of like home, like another home from home. So it kind of resembled Prince George for sure.
Nice.
Trev, I wanted to ask you, what do you think your training routine is now compared to when you were younger?
Oh, I think it's way different. Because I feel like when I was younger, I was a kid that always just kind of wanted to be in a cage, kind of want to be just on a baseball field. But I think it was just more so I would just go out there and just do reps, not really knowing what I was really getting better at and thinking I was getting better. But now it's like I've learned, like being a professional and going through college and in my second year being a professional is like having more quality work than just over quantity. So I've learned to like go in there and work on specific things rather than going just in the cage and just hitting for 2 hours thinking I'm getting better when I'm not, So it's definitely changed a lot.
Absolutely. What's one drill you would say actually that or practice or habit you consider non-negotiable? I'm really big on training.
Non-negotiable. I would say just when I go training, for me, defense is big, so like I have to do my everydays. Like that's kind of like a non-negotiable. Doing like everydays, and then like hitting wise, when I go to hit, like it's just like I used to hit off the tee a lot, and then I learned kind of like I'm a guy that like need to hit it. If I need to hit off the tee, if something's going wrong, I hit off the tee, but I kind of go in the flips first. So hitting wise, you would just say kind of like really prepping the body for hitting wise. Like that is a non-negotiable for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think, for Coach Rock and I, when we coach the youth kids, especially when they come into the facility, they grab the tee and they take 50 swings. The tee doesn't move. The tee stays the same height. It stays the same spot right on the plate.
Same zone.
And same zone, everything. And they think that they're getting work in. And they walk out and say, man, I just had a good workout. And the reality is, like you just said, that's probably not the best, having a routine, but knowing that you're getting, it's more important to get quality reps than quantity. Moving that tee around a little bit, changing the heights. If you're a tee guy, we try to encourage that with the younger players, but I think, like you said, professionally, what works for you, what prepares you. What in college, going from college to professional baseball, what are the major differences that you found as a player?
So in professional baseball, it's like everybody, even in college, like everybody's good, but in professional baseball, everybody's like really good. Like it's only little things that separate you from the next guy or you from this person. Something that was eye-opening to me when I got there was just like the amount of talent it is in this world that you don't know about. Like just growing up kind of in Virginia and just being like, oh, I want to be the best in Virginia, but not knowing like his kids in other countries that are same age as you, getting or better than you, or if not, working every day. His kids in California, like his kids everywhere. So when I got there, it was just eye-opening to see just the talent that like kids are really, really talented like at baseball. And then also just being, certain kids are like younger than you, and you never think like, at least me, I was like, younger kids, like I never would think like, no, he's better than me and everything like that. But it's like to see an 18-year-old kid come in there and, really put in the work and really like some get up to AA, AAA, whatever it is. And it's like, that's just amazing to see. So I would just say from the aspect of like, I think the players are better, but I think even in college, like everybody's good too, but it's some players you can kind of not hide, but some players that might not be as good, but like in professional baseball, like everybody is across the board is good.
Right. You're not hiding that kid, number 9 batter in right field anymore.
Yeah, right field, they're getting all the balls out there.
Your right field has got to be one of your best outfielders, your best arm. So how did you feel when you signed your first professional contract?
It was nerve-wracking, honestly, because that night, before, like the Rockets had liked me the most in the draft process. And the draft process in itself is fun just because, you might look at your phone and it'd be a number that's not saving you. Like, could this be? So it's stressful, but it's fun too. But after the draft, they were saying they might draft me, and I think it was 15 rounds later. And then my agent was like, they're not taking no more infielders. So I was like, okay. So then that night, once the draft was over, I was kind of just sitting with my girlfriend. I was like, man, I don't know. Just don't know. The unknown.
Right.
And then that next morning, talking to my college coach, and then like 10 minutes after that, the Rockets had called me, and I was just like ecstatic. I was like, wow. Like, I always knew it was going to go true, and God willing, it did. And it was just kind of like amazing, honestly. I mean, my girlfriend was crying, but I was just sitting there like, it's just time to go to work now.
Well, you had that belief in yourself,
Yeah.
Growing up all the way through, and in support of your family and coaches. So when you have all those things, and again, the most important, the belief in yourself, the work that you're doing, that's probably the most critical one.
Yes. If you don't believe in yourself, then nobody.
Right. All the other work. Yeah.
That's a fact. What do you think about mental preparation before games? What do you do as far as your mental preparation?
I think that's very important. I think the mental is more important than a lot of stuff in baseball. So I think that's very important. I think for me, like I just kind of, I don't even listen to music anymore. Like I just kind of sit and just kind of, I wouldn't say meditate, but just kind of breathe and just kind of like stay chill, I would say. And that's something I started doing in high school. Then I used to listen to music. When I used to play basketball in high school, I would go in the training room with nobody and just sit in there and just kind of just mellow, chill, just to kind of get away, just kind of breathe and just kind of prep myself. Like you said, like the mental aspect is everything.
Absolutely.
Is everything. So
yeah, we work with when working with the youth, I talk a lot about visualization and allowing them to see themselves doing certain things as far as certain mechanics that they should be doing at game time. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I think that's great. I think visualization is great. That's something they even talk to us about, like in the pros of doing stuff like that, because you can get so caught up in this game of just like, I need to go to the cage, I need to go do this. But it's like, if you just take time to really work on your mental, like the rest of that, I feel like will happen in itself. So I think visualization is great. And it's kind of ironic because when I was at West Virginia, I graduated in my undergrad with sports exercise. Like, so I kind of learned.
Okay.
I kind of learned to extend about all, visualization and all that. But it's like I always tell myself, I need to work on it more, but I can tell somebody else. Like, but I need to work on it myself.
Well, when you ask players too, I know that was like one of the first things I would ask guys, in college, and I even ask the youth players now, how much of the game you think is mental? And I get answers from 50 to 60 to 70, and I say, okay, how much are you working? Yeah, are you working 50% on your mental game? And they look at you like, no. So I think that, and over the years, have you seen it too? But I know when I first started coaching in college, this is probably before you were born, 1989, nobody was talking about the mental part of the game. They would mention it here and there, but it wasn't a focal point. And over the last 10 years, I think every major league organization now has mental performance coaches at every level, not just the first it started at the big league level, but then they started to realize, you know what? Once you get to the big leagues, you pretty much know your mental performance, and you really need it for the younger guys coming up to deal with the failures. Not when everybody's sitting great, everybody's good, and you're like, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. But when you go into that slump and you don't know why, that's a big, having that person there to just to bounce stuff off of. I think that's a huge impact for players.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, I think it's huge. You hit it right on the nail. We have not across all of our system, but we have think about like 6 guys that kind of rotate and they'll come and talk to us and stuff like that. But that's, like you said, that's essential. I feel like, especially at the lower levels, for the younger guys to kind of build that and know like this is important. Like I've seen, like I had a teammate this year that he worked with a mental skills coach over the offseason, and he was a totally different guy. Like he enjoyed the game more this year, and it was just totally different. So like that just takes a weight off of your shoulders.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that too, like you said, it is a game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a game, and if you're not enjoying the game, it's a lot of pressure. For kids coming up nowadays, especially the way college baseball is, and even different from when you played in college, the landscape is different. So the pressure it's out in front. Yeah. So how you deal with that, I think it's really important.
Chris, I thought that was a great point when you brought up the slumps, and I was going to ask Ted, like exactly when every player hits slumps, right? How do you handle slumps?
I think over time it's just, for me at least, because I've learned just through my struggles of hitting just to do less. So in a sense of, like I said earlier, when I was younger, I wanted to go to the cage, just hit. And it's like when you're in a slump, it's like you want to go and fix. But it's like at times it's like you're not going to go in there and fix it. You're only going to make it worse. Right. Because you're just going to go in there probably with a bad mental and thinking like, I need to hit a line drive every time. And it's like sometimes you need to do less. So sometimes, like, for me, it could be, it's funny, but it could just be, like, has nothing to do with baseball, but just, like, go fishing. Go on a walk. Like, just clear your mind. Get away from the game. Like, don't think about it and just kind of let yourself reset, refocus. Absolutely. But for me, I've learned, like, just me personally, like, I'm doing less. So it's like when I'm in a slump, it's just like, all right, do less. Even the reps, like, make your reps more intentful and then kind of get away from the game, kind of clear your mind and then come back.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I think guys get into that mode, like, I got to go hit more if I went over. I used to have guys in college, they go 0 for 3. Meanwhile, they had 3 barrels in the game, but they went 0 for 3. Right. And after the game, they come in and, can I get the keys to the cage, or can I come watch video? I'm like, dude, you basically went 3 for 3 in my book. You barreled up 3 balls, but because they didn't see statistically the results. And that's what I think kids, they base, and again, I love, having game changer and all that stuff is good, but I think sometimes it's detrimental to kids because all they focus on is the stats. And now, with Rapsodo and Blast, again, teaching tools for coaches, awesome. Kids, they want to go on there and they're looking at exit velo. I'm 98 exit velo. Well, that's great, but if you can't hit a breaking ball, what's the 98 exit velo going to do for you? Yeah. So I think, in that it's progressed where you have to learn how to take a step back sometimes and not, when you're hitting well, if you go 0 for 3, okay, that's not a big deal. That's not going to, coach is not going to bench you now for the rest of the season. But I think that's because the pressure is there. And I'm sure in, professional baseball too, right? Yeah. You got in the back of your mind, you want to perform because there's a dude from, Venezuela or Dominican coming up and he wants to take your job. And then in a good way,
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing too. I learned kind of in the year of my last year of college when I hit the best I hit in college. It was just like, all right, hitting is hard, like very hard. So it's like instead of just continuing to be hard on myself, like you said, like 0 for 3. I'm looking at 0 for 3. Like if I hit a line out, a hard ground ball to the middle of the field, shortstop make a good play, whatever. Like that's a win in my book. So it was really a big mental change when I just was like, all right, I'm going to start grading my outs and the misses are where I want them to be. So it's like, if I just missed it, it's like, all right, just missed it. Okay, get it next time. But when I started doing that, my mental just kind of took off and the game took off too as well. Where it's just like, okay, like I don't got to get a hit every time. Even if I got a off the end single somewhere, I'm like, I got enough of it. I got enough direction to where I got enough of it and I got on. Especially with me, I have speed, so I'm like, all I need to do is get on.
That's it.
So it was like once I did that and kind of simplified the game for myself, it allowed me to actually play better to more of my potential of what I've been wanting to do instead of putting all that pressure on myself.
Yeah, and I know Coach Rock and I, we both coach youth level teams now too. So for me, I never publish or put out there the stat like the batting average. I think batting average is like the downfall of hitters. They judge everything off of that.
Right.
I like quality at bat charts instead of batting average. Even when I was coaching pro ball, the first, when you're first coming up through, you're not making a lot of money. So we used to give $25 subway cards, whoever had the best quality at bats that week. Right? And the guys you think I was giving them a gold bar or something, but they would take those subway cards, but that increased their BP sessions because they really focused on, it's not just about, getting the ball in the gap all the time. It's about moving a runner. It's about getting a walk, because like you said, if you have speed, you get a walk, you can turn a walk into a double.
Yeah, I don't even mention stats to my guys because we believe in more about game execution.
Right.
And that's why I wanted to ask you about that. Do you think at what stage should youth be focusing on like bat control, knowing situational hitting versus just getting up in there swinging for the fences at all times?
For youth, I would say, I don't know, that's kind of tricky, I feel like, because something I always like to say is like, even like me being a professional baseball player, like I always wish I could go back to being a kid. Like when I just go out there and just play and wasn't thinking. So I would say, I don't know. Maybe around, as they get a little older and they could handle the bat like 10 or 11, probably just kind of implementing those things so they can learn how to play the game the right way. But it's just like I said, I love the fact that like when you're young and like kids just go out there and just like play and you just play free. But I think, like you said, I think it's important to implement it. I would probably say around maybe I wouldn't say that's too young. Maybe 11 or so when they can actually start handling the bat. Like I think that can be a time where you just kind of start implementing seeds of like, okay, like you might have got out, but like you moved the runner or, hit behind the runner or this and the third. Just like the age, I guess, for a coach's perspective, when you think a kid, is ready to start handling the bat.
I know as a youth coach now, I'm trying to bring back the whole notion of small ball. You got to have great bunt situations, knowing certain things need to happen. Putting that ball on the ground on a hit and run versus, or letting that ball go on the straight steal versus swinging. Some of these kids need to start to understand the essence of that part of the game. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I think that's great. It's funny because I actually was raised on that. So like in high school, like I had a coach. VP, all we do is hit behind the runner, bunt. Like, that's how we essentially won a state championship with little ball. I mean, small ball, should I say. And then when I got to West Virginia, it was kind of the same thing. Like, it was like speed, bunt, hit and runs. So it's kind of how I was raised on, like, small ball. So it's funny because I had to kind of transition in the same way, but kind of out of that. Not out of it, but in a different way when I got to pro ball, because it's like we do small ball, but it's like, all right, like, get the swing off and, like, do this. And I'm like, okay, I got to adjust that a little bit. But, no, I think that's essential because I think that just teaches kids the best way of how to play the game. Like, if you can do the small ball stuff and do the things that matters, like, that's who's going to keep you around. Like, essentially, like, I mean, of course, you got guys that are very talented and do different things, but if you got a guy with a high IQ, he knows how to get a run over, like, you can always put him in the game at any point. Awesome. And he can get the job done. So I think that's very essential to a ball player. Like, I want to teach my kid that one. Like, small ball, and then we can work our way up. Small ball, understand the small things and doing that. That's how you win a game.
How much do analytics play a role with you now in pro ball? I know every team's got the latest and the best analytics. I'm old school. I think analytics are good. Yeah. But I also think they could be overused. There's no more guys, like I was just talking with a buddy last night, and the old manager of the Baltimore Orioles, Earl Weaver, and guys like that, they would have probably turned it over in their grave looking about analytics right now, because they managed on gut instincts and all their years. So I think analytics are good for teaching. Yeah. But sometimes I think so. What's your take? How do you use analytics with you in hitting?
I would say I'm the same way, honestly. Like I look at it, but I don't really look at it too much. If anything, like if I'm hitting the cage, we have like a track man. I look at make sure my launch angle is kind of like 10 to 20 because I need to be like a low line drive. Yeah. But other than that, like I don't really care how hard I hit the ball. Like I look at it because it matters to the org. So like we have 95 plus and like 10 to 30. So like I'll look at that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, in my mind, for me, I'm like, that analytics stuff is just like, it's good, but for me, like I don't really try to care too much for it. Right. I just want to make sure I'm consistent. I want to make sure I feel good.
You're staying within the organization's parameters, what they're looking for, but you're not looking to, right. Yeah.
So I just kind of look at it when I need to and doing what I need to do with them. But other than that, like just kind of, for me, it's more about the work and how I feel.
Right. And I think player development wise, it's definitely holds a place. I mean, we do it here. I mean, for player development, right. When we bring a guy in September, are we seeing an increase in their, in their power numbers? We're teaching them about having a good plane on their bat. Are we seeing that? But we don't base everything about that, because then, like you said, then you get kids just looking at numbers, but then if they can't hit a breaking ball or they can't move around a rope, what's the difference on numbers then?
So I just the same way of been like, I might hit a ball like in a game and be like, oh, what was that? Like, okay, it went up, like I'm hitting it more flush now. Yeah, other than that, then like I don't even really like to even watch my swing, honestly, because I just know within myself, like I just
you can feel it.
Yeah, I go off field.
T, how do you feel about practice players versus game players? Because there's certain I should say systems or a mindset in reference to that. Being a youth baseball coach, I want my guys to be gamers, but I also want them to put the same effort in practice. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
No, I feel like that's important. I feel like they say, like it sounds cliche, but how you practice is how you play. Like, and that was something that, when I was growing up in high school, like I was very strict on just like practicing hard. Like even in college too, like practicing very, very hard. And it's like now it's different in pro ball because like you have so many games. Like I still want to have like more like the intent there when I'm practicing of knowing, But I feel like that's very essential. Just like how you practice is really how you play. And I know it sounds cliche to a lot of players, and like even when I was playing, it's like I took it serious, but at the same time, like, all right, you want to go out here every day and go hard and practice, and it's just like, but that's what you have to do, to become the best. I feel like so. I feel like yes, it's very essential that every day you go out there and just give it your all, like practice, game, because if you do it in practice, like they say, if you do it in practice, it's going to be easier in the game.
Absolutely.
And you guys are competing. It's like you said before, when you were growing up, you were competing against the kids in Petersburg, Prince George. Yeah. And if you're good, you're like, oh, okay,
Right.
I'm pretty good. And then all of a sudden, when you get to WVU, all right, that just expanded now,
Yeah,
maybe to the
yeah.
East Coast, maybe a couple of players from
Right.
out of that East Coast area. Now you're in pro ball. Now you're competing against the world. Now you're
Yeah.
getting kids from all over the world coming in to compete. So if you're not making your practice as hard or harder than a game, somebody else will be.
Yeah, that might be better.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, we really appreciate your time today, coming in and talking with us. And some great insights. You know, Coach Rock and I wish you the best of luck, you know, moving forward. And, you know, we'll be following your career I know you're heading off to start training now already. So you're getting ready for the season, and it's, you know, October. So the work never stops, right?
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Remember,
Well, thanks very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the All-Star Youth Insights podcast. We appreciate you for listening and being a part of the baseball community that's helping kids learn, grow, and love the game. If you'd like to help us keep the game accessible and combat rising costs of youth baseball, check out the link in our bio to learn about how you can get involved or make a contribution. Until next time, keep swinging for the stars.